famous. He's, on all the pubs is actually hunting for every Cornellian at Cornell back then in Ithaca. So even when he died, everywhere in Ithaca having that pub with his name, Mirador Jing. That's why every year right now, Cornell and over the world, we're celebrating Cornell Jing Night everywhere in the world. And here you are in Vietnam, 2022.
Sẻ với nhau sau. Bây giờ thì cũng xin rất là mong muốn là anh Tuân sẽ chia sẻ một đôi chút về cái cảm xúc của mình trước cái thời khắc mà giải League 2, em phát âm tiếng Pháp cũng chuẩn lắm, League 2 phải không ạ, là chuẩn bị khởi tranh
trên cực Bắc, phía Bắc của nước Pháp, nên là mình không thể đi những trận trước được. Trận trước đến Bordeaux mình cũng vẫn theo đội, nhưng mà trận này quá xa thì đành chịu. Nhưng mà mình cũng sẽ như mọi người thì sẽ ngồi nhà để mà hồi hộp chờ đợi cái giây phút mà Quang Hải được ra sân, bởi vì nó là cái giây phút lịch sử mà. Thì mình rất là mong chờ là Quang Hải được ra sân và được thể hiện đúng cái sở trường của Quang Hải mà đã thể hiện khi mà còn ở Việt Nam, thì mình rất là mong đợi cái giây phút đó.
Anh Tuân nói là làm cho các bình luận viên bây giờ cũng phải ngả mũ rồi đấy. Trên kênh YouTube thì có một bạn khán giả tên là Hải Triều Cuộc Sống Thú Vị, thì gọi anh chị bằng cái tên rất là hay.
So today we're going to talk about learning, but not just learning from a person who learn. It's about the person who going to learn.
One, two, three, action.
So today we're going to talk about learning, but not just learning from a person who learn. It's about the person who going to learn in an organization and who's supposed to graduate from school, come into an organization, to a business and work. Or they would be the business leader who lead the whole organization. They are all learning right now. So that's come to the concept of learning organization. So I would have here two very special guests, Madame Marilina, ambassador of Bulgaria to Vietnam. She's been so many years in Vietnam, and I'm pretty sure she's going to have a great story about Bulgaria and Vietnam for us. And then we have Ms. Nguyễn Hoàng Ánh, this professor at many very famous universities, including Foreign Trade University. And then later on, Ms. Ánh still dedicated her life for education and after education.
Yes,
is that correct?
After education.
So that's why thank you so much for joining us. The topic of learning organization is not new to the world, but to Vietnam, people still think more about long life learning. So I want to start with the first question. Long life learning for many people think is a beautiful term. It's a wonderful thing that will be promoted everywhere, including Vietnam. But I would like to ask you, when a person going to work and supposed to know where to work or work very well in order to be successful, should we have a purpose for learning? Or during that, lifelong learning journey, if without the purpose, or we just learn, and we don't know where we need to achieve the goal of learning, if that could be tricky. When I talk to a student, we talk about lifelong learning. So the first thing they would say, I'm reading many books. I come into so many training program, many famous speakers, listen to their talk. I'm learning every single day. That's how we heard about learning. But then it comes to the organization or some particular work. What we're seeing is many young people, they don't know how much to learn, how many books they should read, or how much is enough, how much learning is enough. So maybe you want to help us define the term lifelong learning or purpose-driven learning. Just think about it, like what you prefer for especially, let's say, young people who graduate from foreign Swiss University and start joining the labor market, which is, like you said, so fast changing market. Everything changing so fast, so they have to continue learning. Miss Anh, you want to start first?
I think that now both the issue could be matched in one issue. It is very okay.
Both terms would be
both terms
supporting each other.
Yeah, because it is the same like you climbing in the mountain. First time you couldn't see the top. You see something near you, and then you move step by step, and you can see that one day that one is my purpose, but after 1 month maybe the purpose is stopped over there. Then there is no problem. The first time for students, for young people, the purpose maybe the certificate or the graduation degree
Or a good job?
Yeah, a good job. And later, after that, you can see that it is not enough. And then you want something higher, for example, the bachelor graduation degree is not enough, maybe the master, and after the master, maybe the
So the purpose-
the CPA, and then you can see that.
So the purpose is changing.
Yeah, the purpose is changed.
So this is not about lifelong learning or purpose-driven learning. It's about how one person reflect themselves after learning.
I think that it is about the personal development. If you want to get the real personal development, then finally you go to lifelong learning.
Yeah.
And if you are easily satisfied person, you think that maybe the bachelor degree is good enough for you, or maybe the job that every day you can do the same routine is good for you, then lifelong learning is not good for you.
So it's very much depending on that particular person.
Yeah, the
What,
personal
whatever the
mastery.
term as the personal mastery, that is one of the 5 concepts, 5 elements of organizational learning.
Okay.
From Peter Stein, which is very famous, who's wrote about learning organization from day one. What is this, learning in one organization should look like? You see in general, people working and learning in their own organization. What do you think about it?
First, just to reflect a bit on your previous question about purpose-driven learning and lifelong learning, I don't necessarily see the contradiction to both.
Yeah.
I very much agree actually with both of you and the observations that it's a kind of an internal process. It relates very much to how you put it, like personal mastery. It could fit one person, not fit another, but
Yes.
it's
Reflection.
and
Yes.
it's the vision and ability to push yourself out of your comfort zone. You can continue on with the lifelong learning, but it's on a very personal level. And when you ask for like more objective level, when we talk about learning organization,
Yes.
it's the same, but also it's a bit different because. And how it is similar, because just as at a personal level, when we adapt ourselves to the new challenges and to new opportunities, the same is also valid for every organization. And the learning organization, as I understand them, are these organizations that are forward-looking, that are able to adapt easily to the new environment, to the new world, that accept change, that learn from mistakes, that study the others, that implement decisions, that innovate. So these are the learning organization. And it's very much about learning, like the process of learning, but it's also about the culture you create.
Yeah.
And I think I come here to your question, reflecting on my own experience now as the head of a small team here, but also with already 20 more years of professional experience. I think that the most important, but maybe the most difficult to achieve, is how you create the best organizational culture that
Yes.
will support the value you create. So
Yes.
Each one of us, we create value every time. It's not only on a business level when you think, factory or industrial production or industrial output, but me as a public servant, I mean, each one of us, we create value every day.
Educational,
education, of course,
public servant.
non-governmental organizations as well. We create value every day with what we do, and for each and every one of us to be to achieve this personal mastery, we must have the enabling environment, and it's about the leadership and the type of leadership that is required, but it's also about the connection between the leader, the partnership between the leader and the employee.
Yes.
And,
I sort of
Yeah.
enjoy what you
Yeah.
talk about value.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
exactly is what I start as one of us conversation last time with a few business leader. I read this publication from one professor. I think they come from Vietnam as well. They say that education 1.0 is
Yeah.
to teach, just teaching.
Yeah.
Whether people get it or not, maybe it's not. That's why how I interpret. Education 2.0 is to employ. Start from business leader. Start as one of us conversation last time with a few business leader. I read this publication from one professor. I think they come from Vietnam as well. They say that education 1.0 is
Yeah.
to teach, just teaching.
Yeah.
Whether people get it or not, maybe it's not. That's why how I interpret. Education 2.0 is to employ, starting to go into the labor market and joining the world work. The education 3.0 is to create knowledge, which I understand that new knowledge, which is very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. But the last one, exactly what you just mentioned, is education 4.0 is to create value. So I sort of like those, simple key terms, but of course a huge work of research and study. And the word of value, it is such an amazing thing that's really inspire people of what everything I'm doing, that means something. I'm not going just come to this place just for money, for the salary by the end of the month. It's something I'm good contributing. And when the leader realize that people has a lot of value-driven work, they really appreciate.
Yeah.
But let's go a little bit further from educational and public servant. We can come back to that because it's such a noble job. We're talking about one of the big force of the whole economy and the learning society as well. Those are businesses. In business, the first thing that people start before learning, saying that the business is to make money, to create profit. It's the nicer term putting. Of course, they create value as well, but they have to go with the driven for financial, sustainability or financial growth. They make the whole economy go up, make everybody happier by can secure their own, personal life and financial independence. But value in businesses is not just like values in other places. It would be 2 points we keep, making joke or teasing about that. Is number one is money. Yeah. If you are a business and you don't make money, you lost one. But the interesting part of that value bringing in is the reputation. And I'm seeing that so many business leaders, of course, they want their company bigger with more money, but they also want respect from the society, which is simply put reputation. Do you think that kind of, defining value for businesses in the way they learn about what's supposed, for example, in Vietnam. The process of, learning in an organization to say that this organization is not all about money. They also about value. Do you see that around?
I do see it, but I also see a lot of room for improvement everywhere. It's not just in Vietnam, I think everywhere in the world, especially this aspect that you mentioned about the social impact and how to be mindful of the proper value that we create. But you touched on many important aspects in your expose, so I'm just trying to gather my thoughts
Please.
now. And
Yes.
when you ask
Please.
about Vietnam in particular, I mean, this is a country with impressive socio-economic growth. It managed to through organization, through hard work, through forward-looking policies, it managed to lift the country itself out of poverty in a very short span of time. It maintains the buffer, benefited by all. That you're mindful of environment, you're mindful of vulnerable groups, and this is another level of development that I feel Vietnam has reached, and now is looking how to implement this best solution for this sustained growth.
Yes.
And the world is this nowadays at a very important juncture. We all feel it. It's fast changing. There are many challenges, many pressures that come together to create a very complex reality. And it's not nowadays. It's not so obvious how. And returning to businesses, I think how businesses. I don't know if the professor might disagree or not, but how businesses create value. For me, it's in the past. It was. There were easy solutions and ready solutions about how you generate revenue. Let's say you expand geographically. I'm thinking, and you go to somewhere where labor is cheap, and it creates value immediately.
Yes.
But nowadays, I don't think it's that simple, and very much the growth is
no longer simple.
Is driven within, and we return here also to what you mentioned about the social impact. First, how you create the culture to make your organization prosper, because every one of your employees will contribute more and will create more value for you. But at the same time, what you do, not only about, to report to look good, but also to do good. So it's not only about
and the world's looking.
And the world is really looking, and it's again very complex reality. There are many aspects that businesses, organization, governments need to navigate to be able to balance.
But you see that they are trying to see that.
I see it.
We're all seeing that. We're all trying, and then
I see it in Vietnam very clearly with the new program for socio-economic development that was set starting 2021. I see it in the new climate strategy. I see it with the objectives that the government set for the country to net zero carbon emissions by 2050.
Yes.
I see it, and it's the Vietnamese people are very smart. They're very resilient. They're very hardworking. So they know where they want to be and what they want to achieve. Now the real question is how you implement, how you make it possible.
Which means in learning process, we graduate from the knowledge perspective. Now, important question. What would we would have an amazing statistic to really come to an answer. But here within this, small, initiative, we just like to, really bring in some good term in order to find out where are we a little bit in those kind of a learning process. So I would go back to what you just mentioned about, yes, businesses and, the government and even the people, we are all learning. The first thing that's go in the mind is that we all are trying to change, which means good changes. So the most important thing is to learn. Is that correct? If we don't learn correctly, you might go to a different perspective. And for business, for example, those are costs. If you learn wrong from the beginning, you invest in something wrong, it's a cost. And it's also there's reputation, and also maybe they won't get the money either. But for others, I think it's the same mentality, isn't it? So Miss Anh just mentioned a story, going back a little bit with education. She mentioned a story way long times ago, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the education that's in Europe and from Bulgaria. And I remember there's a lot of my friends and older friends, and then those generation going to Bulgaria, Poland, still happy, so happy going home. Most of the time with the science, the scientist, degree, and is still proud and says so much about those. But Ms. Anh also shared the picture of most of the education in the Western world. We try to teach you the bigger picture. You come home to Vietnam and you start to reflecting that picture into your own picture. What's he seeing in Vietnam with the little much lower starting point? We're teaching people with, she have a very interesting term and funny that we make with very small detail to make it learn by heart. She talk about step on the right side and step on the left side, which means the school starting to tell people learn about the different dots. How to connect those dots that people maybe have to learn themselves. I don't know, is that correct? You want to jump in?
Yeah, because we teach the student for the small step, but we didn't teach the student about the process. Then if they do in the low level, they can apply it easily. But if they are promoted or they are getting in big organization and nobody tells them which dot to step on,
or
then,
how to connect them.
Then they couldn't do anything because they didn't know the whole picture.
Yeah.
They didn't know the whole process.
Yeah.
And they depend on some dot very near them only.
So there are two solutions to that. It's number one, that person have to be really determined to learn and try to connect the dots themselves. Or the boss or the person who mentoring and coach that person need to really spend time investing in learning.
Sometimes even the boss didn't know it. Because they do what is they get order.
Although they have the same education before. Okay.
And then they know their dot only. And the lower level knows their dot.
What you saying exactly what reflecting to learning organization have four period of development. We were calling it 4 type of learning organization. Okay. The first one called local one, and somebody just make it like exactly what she just mentioned, a responsive organization, which means that everybody looking at the small event and try to work on event and respond to what the world need. Not necessarily connecting all that event together. So that's what we see in so many big organizations and even small in Vietnam, and mainly small. Meaning that people like to work on task-based work. So the boss would give you a list of tasks and do it and finish the day. And then sometimes the boss do the list of a tasks as well, because that's how the client asks for. So the first thing is to generate money, and the first thing from that company was, let's do this. You not learn that much to see how long you do it, why you do this. Yes, so more like what than why. So your circumstances you say earlier were maybe fit in the first type of learning organization. And maybe they only gonna learn more and deeper when they realize that thing doesn't work, right? Either they fail or they cannot go bigger. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if they don't know if the leader couldn't see the big picture, then the organization wouldn't develop.
Yes. And that big picture thing, I will finish this point to go to the next, is the big picture thing because the system thinking.
System thinking.
Yeah. In learning organization, it have to connect all the dots in that particular organization. And this one of the hardest one. And then you mentioned about complexity of so many events and so many requirements from economic side and social side. How to connect those dots is truly a challenge. But if you're gonna get trained and learn about system thinking, and that big picture comes out, maybe that's how we need to think about promoting learning organization for.
But it is depend on the personal mastery of the leader.
Yes.
If the leader didn't get the right personal mastery, then the organization couldn't get the system thinking.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. This is a good part of it. There is theories and people learn about this back to the 90s. So we need to apply only. We don't have to start from beginning. So it's good start. We here to connect those terms together, and I'm so happy that you two has been helping us a lot.
Because you were so kind to mention on the relations between Bulgaria and Vietnam and
Yes.
What we share now, but also what we had in the past. And one of, this is what we all agree, Vietnam and Bulgaria is the foundation of our very successful partnership.